mind is, I need a glass of water. I bet the same goes for you too. At least, I hope so. But now, imagine waking up this morning, bright and early, ready to start off your day with a fresh glass of water. But then reality strikes you, and then you suddenly remember that you didn't fetch enough water yesterday, and so now you don't have any water left to cook with, to clean yourself with, or let alone drink. And now, I know, some of you are probably thinking, fetch water? What is she going on about? I mean, I have tap, filtered, and purified water in my own house. The tap water I use for washing the dishes, and for other hygienic purposes. The purified water I drink. Isn't that a basic standard for every household? Well, not quite. Because in the eyes of 2 billion people living on this planet, you are actually considered a privileged individual. Me? Privileged? But I thought that clean water was a right, a necessity. Well, yeah, according to the UN it is. But that doesn't change the fact that around the globe, there are geographical factors that allow for some countries better access to clean water than others. Take rural Ethiopia, for example. Rural Ethiopia suffers from frequent droughts, which is the root of their water scarcity. You'd definitely not be surprised to know that a majority of school absence rates are due to the water crisis. The land is dry, and water, especially clean, drinkable water, is scarce. And now I want you to keep in mind that most people living in these areas are impoverished, so they can't possibly afford a filtration system in their own house, right? Therefore, children, especially young girls, are forced by their families to wander off far and about in order to find a source of water, to collect water. And because going off every day and trying to find a water source is so time-consuming, these children, they don't have enough time left to pursue other interests or continue with their studies. And so now, this is one problem. Not having clean water to your expense and having to miss school for it is basically denying the access to education. And now, some of you are probably thinking, okay, so a lot of these children, they don't have access to clean water, right? They don't have access to education, but it's fine because can't they just contribute to society in other ways? And to that I say, most definitely they can. But let's not forget that education opens doors. And without the skill sets that you learn in school, such as communication, negotiation, collaboration, teamwork, etc., these children are more prone to employment barriers when they grow up. But like I've said before, most of these people are impoverished, so those job opportunities may as well be their only gateway out of the poverty cycle. Now, I want to introduce to you the second problem regarding Ethiopia's water crises. Other than the fact that children are missing out on school in order to fetch water, there's also another rising issue regarding health. Now, you see, these children, they are out wandering in search of a source of water, which can come in the form of a well, stream, lake, or pond. But then, most of the times, these water sources aren't even clean. According to thewaterproject.org, most of these shallow water sources are home to many different species of parasitic organisms, such as the ones known to cause giardiasis, a diarrheal disease where the parasite thrives inside any animals or human intestines. These foul illnesses can be also passed along rivers containing human or animal feces. I gotta tell you that when I was first researching this topic, I actually thought to myself, well, you see, I'm lactose intolerant, I have diarrhea all the time, and look at me, I'm still standing here, I'm still as healthy as a horse. Well, I was wrong, because this is different. This is illness, disease caused by parasitic infections, and are far more fatal to the human body, especially to young children, infants, or those with an already weakened immune system. PreventRotavirus.org claims that rotavirus kills about 200,000 children each year and hospitalizes hundreds of thousands more. So, with no doubt, consumption of water from these contaminated sources are the likely reason why many Ethiopian children living in the rural parts of Ethiopia are succumbing to waterborne diarrheal diseases. Now, I want to reel us back in here. So far, I have been talking about Ethiopia. I've been using rural Ethiopia as an example of a country plagued by water crises. But now I want to talk about my home country, Thailand. Although Thailand is located in the tropics with our monsoons and our never-ending rainy seasons, we're not complete strangers to droughts or water shortages. But I know that nowadays, when you go online, try to search for news articles regarding water and sanitation issues that are currently happening, you'd most likely not find that many talking about the issues that are happening as of right now, but most likely video evidence and news articles talking about NGOs and water fund projects going to the different parts of rural Thailand and assessing the filtration systems there and working to improve them accordingly. So, as a Thai citizen, I am very proud of how far we have came regarding our water crises. And just to back that up, according to Call to Action Thailand and the SDGs book, improved water is enjoyed by nearly 98% of the population, and 93% have access to improved sanitation. And I know, now, some of you guys are probably thinking, oh wow, how glad I am to be a Thai citizen. We are great, we are awesome, and give yourselves a pat on the back. Well, I'm sorry to break it to you here, but we aren't exactly in the clear. I'll tell you that when I first told my parents that I was doing this TEDx speech regarding water sanitation in Thai, they actually told me that the speech would be completely pointless, having said, quote unquote, Thailand's water paradox was a thing of the past. And so that was when I realized that a lot of us tend to over-cherish our country's accomplishments. A lot of us Thai people tend to think that this generation of Thai people have managed to escape our water crises, so we can definitely rest easy now. But what about my generation? Or my future children's generation? Or my future children's children's generation? Will they really be able to rest easy in the next 30 years from now? Because it actually seems to me like our current daily climate change-inducing actions are only increasing the chances of yet another water crisis. Maybe this time not in the form of a drought like in rural Ethiopia or the ones that we had decades ago, but more likely in the form of water contamination, where we don't entirely run out of water, but instead run out of clean, drinkable water. If we continue living in arrogance, if we continue having too much pride in our successful filtration systems, and if we take what we have for granted, will we be blinded from seeing what is yet to come? I mean, this isn't a literal question whether we can stop global warming or prevent climate change, but rather the question of, are we ready to embrace the changes that are coming our way in the next 30 years or so? Or are our future children going to succumb to these changes just because we, older generations, were incapable of predicting an oncoming problem? That is why I suggest that in order to embrace a change that has yet to happen, like another potential water crisis, we should live our everyday lives as if, wait for it, that change had already happened. Live as if we are living amidst the water crisis, or live as if we are the children of rural Ethiopia, with every single drop of water having been of significant value. But that poses the question, what would I do if I was living amidst a water crisis? Well, for starters, I know that today, when I go home, when I'm getting ready for bed, or when I'm brushing my teeth, I'll probably turn the tap off. Or when I'm soaking myself in the shower, I'll turn the water off. And perhaps if I was an owner of a company or a factory, then I'd probably refrain from building my processing plants near a populated area, perhaps. Definitely not throwing shade towards the Clitty Creek incident in Kanchanaburi. And I'm sorry that I have to bring our Thai festivities or traditions into this, but according to a call to action, Thailand and the SDGs goals, once again, the number of plastic or synthetic foam cartons placed into the Chao Phraya River alone was estimated to be more than 71,000 out of 825,000 vessels. So please, if you aren't planning to already, please use eco-friendly vessels for our next Larkartong. Not to mention saving more water for our next Songkran festival. If we live every day as if the change had happened, if we live as if we were already amidst a water crisis, then the future generations of Thailand would have to go through what the current generations of rural Ethiopia are facing. That being lack of education due to water shortage or illness caused by the consumption of contaminated water. If we practice conserving the resources that we currently have, then I have no doubt at all that we will be ready to adapt to whatever change may bring us in the near future. Thank you.